49er mind is
It's not just a thought process, but a way of life.
49er mind. 49er mind.
I can't shake it. It's 49er mind that I got. It's 49er shine that I got. My psyche's on another Frisco Super Bowl. Don't sit slow, cause here we go with a super show. A red and gold session. About a red and gold obsession. With some well-controlled expressions. Let's talk about that win that we got. Who should have been in the slot? That's how they spin in the squad. All that back, all that crack, all that straight fumble sack. Or just dial it on up if you wanna talk smack. It don't matter what the story on, as long as the story aligns with a 49er mind.
49er mind.
It's not just a thought process,
49er mind,
but a way of life. For sure.
49er mind.
Way of life.
49er mind.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a Friday night edition of 49er Minded, collabing with my boy Raj from RSF 49ers Live. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, baby. We got a game on Sunday. The 49ers need to win this game. I cannot stomach a third straight loss, Bash. Let's get to it. I'm hyped up, man.
I'm hyped up too, man. We need this win really, really bad. I'm tired of the letdowns. I'm tired of the injuries. I'm just tired of it all, man. And hopefully we go into this game at Levi's pumped up, ready to go from the home crowd, and just, all guns ablaze, man. Let's do this. Before we get started, let me just say what's up to some people who were waiting patiently in the chat. Appreciate all of you guys who are here early. Like Wero Ski's been on my post-game shows before. What's up, bro? Good to have you. Says, let's go. John LaJoy 49ers is here. Says, hi, Bashar and Raj. We got 49er Throwback. Check him out on Twitter. He's got great 49er Throwback type videos. Red Jet Shells in the building. She says, Niners. Who else is up in here? We got Jimmy Perez says, what's up, Bashar and Raj? We got Tej Beats says, let's go. Miguel Vallejo says, hey, what's up, Raj? Christine Workman is in the house. We got Ethan Collins. We got Deja1122. We got a whole bunch of people. More people are going to come later. And I like this name. Hey, Peter Parker. What's up, bro? It's my homie on Twitter. Susan D's in the building. And more people are going to come in. I know we might not expect as many people because the World Series is going on, the Warriors are going to play the Kings and all that.
We're better than the Warriors and the Kings. We're better than the World Series, Bash. High expectations. Don't set your standards low. Everybody wants to hear us talk tonight. 49er football trumps it all. And you got me on the show. You're here. We're two legends. Let's fucking roll, baby. Friday night.
Roll, baby. Let's go.
Go.
Speaking of legends, we got Nicholas Akalades. He's a Browns fan for the Locker Room Rant YouTube channel. Says, the Bash Steve Woods. Wilkes needs to go. I've said it before and I'll say it again. So there's a lot of disarray going on with the 49ers in the past two victories. A lot of finger pointing going around. A lot of blame to go around. We'll touch that later. But how's your boy Purdy, man? How's our guy Purdy doing? I know you're the injury expert. You're in the medical field, and do you think he's going to play Sunday under the concussion protocol?
So let's talk about Brock Purdy. Yeah, so I haven't been live yet. I haven't had a chance to talk about it. I've been so busy today. But Brock Purdy has one more phase to get into to pass the concussion protocol, and all signs are pointing to him passing the protocol. He's basically on step 4, step 5. Now he's got to get through contact drills. He went through, he was full go today in practice. So now they have to see, with balance testing and stuff like that. Tomorrow they go through walkthroughs, and if he gets through all the final drills, he's ready to go on Sunday. Kyle Shanahan said, look, if he passes the concussion protocol, he's our starting quarterback. He's QB1. There's no question. There's no controversy. It was crazy because I guess he was placed on the, concussion protocol Tuesday. We didn't find out till Wednesday because the 49ers were off basically because they had a Monday night game. Wednesday comes, Kyle Shanahan talks to media, and it was like, oh, by the way, and everybody started freaking out, right? Then yesterday, bro shows up, Wolverine blood in his system, comes out, he's practicing, and I'm like, bro, got that dog in him. Today, full practice, crazy. So maybe it was a mild concussion, I don't know. But at the end of the day, yeah, he has a chance to play on Sunday. Everybody's saying, all the reporters, Schefter, Dr. Nav Pandey, I talked to him, and everybody's saying, yeah, as long as he passes this final step, he'll be cleared tomorrow. And Brock Purdy will be starting Sunday, just days after he had a concussion. So crazy.
Crazy. I hope that is the case now. Did you think that he got the concussion on that QB sneak where they had the overhead and that dude dove in and did the helmet to helmet?
I think so because they not only did he okay, so that was a third down play because I rewatched that game so many times and then I watched it again to kind of like figure out some plays. I was watching the film. That play he got cracked. The next play was another QB sneak, so I'm sure he got hit. Obviously, he didn't get hit in the head like that, and then he made some bad decisions. People are saying, maybe he played through a concussion and we didn't know. And if you really watched that game, it was so that was like the last 4 or 5 minutes. So everything happened so quick. You don't know. You can't really determine. Kyle maybe didn't see him get cracked like that. Throws the pick, comes back. The Vikings, they left about a minute and 11 seconds left on the clock. There was no timeout. So the 49ers just had to go. Brock had to just go, go, go. You don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe he had it. They said he didn't have symptoms till the airplane, which makes sense because the airplane, the altitude can exacerbate symptoms. I think he might have played through it, but I watched this film. There was another play. I can't remember exactly what time was again, but there's two edge rushers from the Vikings. They come around the corner and they sandwich Purdy. He gets clocked and he still throws the ball. I mean, there was a lot of hits in that game, but I think if we're going to pinpoint something, it probably was the QB sneak. But I mean, it's hard to like exactly say which play caused it, but it makes sense because he played pretty bad after that hit.
I will say this: I am a little. I want to see Brock out there. I don't want to see Sam Darnold out there, but I am a little concerned if Brock goes out there because I wouldn't want lightning to strike twice. And maybe we refrain from QB sneaks if that's the case. If he does play Sunday.
I mean, you don't want to like limit him. If he's limited, then why play him, right? It sucks though because I've been saying this all week. Even if he's healthy, I don't want to play him. Give him the 2 weeks to rest because. Man, if he comes off of the concussion, plays 5 days later and gets concussed again, then you're screwed because he's going to be out for a long time. To return to play after a second concussion takes a little bit more time. We saw what happened with Tua last year. It's dangerous. Concussions are scary business. And also, we have to mention that Trent Williams is questionable. He may play, he might not. And if Trent Williams doesn't play and you have, a banged-up offensive line trying to protect a quarterback that's just coming off a concussion, that's risky business, man. I love Brock. I want him out there. I want the 49ers to win this game. It might be in their best interest long-term to play Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I'm a little iffy on that. I'm with you on that. Even though I'd much rather see Brock out there. I want to see Brock fired up, and I want to see Brock redeem himself for all the hate that he's getting and all the blame that he's getting on these past two games. Let me see what's up to some people that just got in here, though, really quick. We got Aaron for 49ers First Takes Pods. He goes on with Raj, and he goes on with a lot of us, and he's a great dude. And says, "Hey, ladies, I know if he's referring to me though. Probably somebody else in the chat, but definitely not a lady. But good to see you, bro. Who else is up in here that I missed? We got Corey. Corey's up in here. He says, any other way of getting hold of you? Not sure he's talking to, but good to see him in there, man. Yeah, I mean, this quarterback thing with the 49ers, it never ends. It's almost like whatever quarterback we have playing." They find a way to get banged up some way or another. I just wish we could have just like a quarterback play every single game throughout the whole season of the playoffs and, free from injuries. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Every year it's the same story, same song and dance. It's drama, it's injuries. And it's like, I was listening to a lot of other people this week and but shout out to my boy, Aaron. We talked about it. We mentioned it a little bit in our story and I was talking to it about, on my IG channel. And a lot of people were saying, is Kyle Shanahan to blame? Is he the one that gets these guys hurt because he ran them up the quarterback sneak? I mean, it's just football plays, man. He's calling the plays, but then people are always going to say Kyle's getting these guys hurt. I don't think so, but it begs to kind of ask the question, like, what will it take for a quarterback to get through the season without significant injuries? I mean, I know it's football. These guys are going to get hurt, but again, I don't want to risk Brock Purdy. I love the guy. And again, maybe he won't have anything happen. And then the bye week comes and everything's great. But if he gets a second concussion this week, man, that's kind of, you can go back and say, well, you had the decision to make, guys, and you opted to play him. So it can get really fishy down there. It can get really kind of a sketchy situation. So, yeah, I hope that they make the right decision. Obviously, they have the best medical teams in the NFL, great trainers, great doctors. So I'm sure they'll make the right call, but it's not always that easy in the NFL. We've seen teams make the wrong call, and again, without Trent Williams, it could be very scary. Again, he might play. We don't know. He's questionable, but I don't know, man. I'm a little worried, like you
I'd
said,
like to see
about
Trent
Brock.
Williams back, but who knows what they do. Joey Mahoney's here. He says, "What's up, brothers? My two boys. Let's effing go Niners. Appreciate you, bro." Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got everybody in the chat. I always like to shout out everybody. A few people had some good things to say. Got a good friend of mine over in Texas who was on my post game show. For last time I did my post game show, Master Any Craft says, "We so faithful to the Bay." Shout out to
Faithful to
Wayne.
the Bay.
Shout out to Breezy and Travis King. I got that song stuck in my head right now, bro. For the past 10 minutes, it's been ever since I saw that comment pop up on the screen. But he said that hit was wild. He hit him hard. Were you at the video shoot for that song for Breezy or?
No, I missed it. I was working that morning. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I worked
okay.
like a dog, man. But
Yeah.
yeah,
If I was
saw
still
it.
in San Jose, I would have done it. But if I was going to the game the next day, I would definitely checked it out. I was I'm all the way up in Roseville, Sacramento area, so
They were like
little
5
hard.
minutes from my spot. I was like, dang, but I was at work that morning.
Oh, okay, yeah, exactly. I got you. Oh, you live right by over there where they're filming?
When they filmed at the time, I was living there. I moved, but I'm still close.
Oh, okay. I got you. Cool.
Yeah.
Nicholas says on the Browns fan, he says, I think you guys should trade Darnold and the 4th pick for Trey Lance just in case Purdy can't go. Dude, you were hating on Trey Lance so much, man. You're telling us to trade for Trey Lance and get him back.
He misses the argument.
I know.
Shout out to Nick. He's a Cleveland fan, so he must know a little thing or two about Steve Wilkes because Steve Wilkes was a head coach for them.
Yeah,
right?
He doesn't like Wilkes.
I don't either. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, really quick. I'm gonna pull this comment up from Ethan Collins. Says everyone doesn't trust Sam because of what he did with the Jets and the Panthers, but he never had this amount of talent around him. Very true. Never had Shanahan. When the defense is the 49er defense playing right, he's never had that defense. Now, does he get the 49er defense if he plays is a question. But speaking of that defense, what do you think about Steve Wilkes going up into this week? Man?
Yeah, so that's the big guy. That's the big question. Obviously, Kyle called him out. We saw the dialogue all week. Kyle didn't like the all-out blitz play at the situation he called it. Situational football is big in games. You lose one little play like that was a 6-point swing. The 49ers lose by 5 points. So that play could have been the difference in the game, and it really was. And I know a lot of people say it's on Mooney Ward. He has to make the play. It just was a risky call. You don't make that. You play prevent. So if the guy makes the catch, you have people that could tackle him, and then it's not a 6-point swing. So Kyle called him out, and then Kyle said he could have called timeout. But at the end of the day, he sent his message to Wilkes. I know Wilkes hasn't lived up to his status. Everybody thought he was going to come right in and fix this defense, and we're good, or pick up where it left off, right? And Wilkes took the L. He took it on the chin. I respect him for taking the L and rolling with the punches and saying he could have did better. He has to do better. He knows the situation was wrong, but now he's got to show it on the field. Like you said what you had to say. You said you made the wrong call. Now let's make the right calls. Let's fix it. It's all lip service. But I think the other thing is, and I've been saying this for weeks, and Steve Wilkes literally said it, that he doesn't know how to coach his defense yet. He's still figuring it out. Like, he is a new guy on the street, right? New kid on the block, trying to figure out how to use all these shiny weapons. Again, we have all these great defensive players. I don't think he's ever had the talent the 49ers had. He's still trying to figure it out. And he said it. He goes, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out the scheme, which, it's week 8. You would hope that a defensive guy that's been in the league for 17 years can figure it out pretty quick, but he hasn't, and that's something that's a little irritating. And I said it over the last couple of weeks. Like, I still don't think he understands how to utilize these players. He's got to figure it out fast, Bash, because this defense isn't what it should be. They had 18 pressures, 0 sacks, man. And that, to me, cannot continue to happen. The 49ers have to get sacks because you're putting too much pressure on the secondary. So Steve Wilkes has to figure this out, man. And then 100%, he has to be able to make adjustments in the game, and he just has not been able to do that.
You mentioned 0 sacks. And it was not only 0 sacks, but Cousins dropped back 45 times. That is crazy. I'm sorry. And with the amount of times that we blitz and the amount of guys that we blitzed on certain plays, and they talked about that play right before the half where it looked like Mooney Ward was going to get the interception, and the dude just broke off of him and ran or whatever. And it was just ridiculous how many people we blitzed on that play. If you're blitzing more than 2 extra guys, it's ridiculous. And you better get home if you are blitzing the amount of people we were blitzing. It was just nuts. And and even with the regular 4-man pass rush, so I'll say this: I know Bosa was complaining that we shouldn't be blitzing that much. I get it, but at the same time, like you were mentioning shiny toys and all that, our shiny toy Bosa needs to be that shiny toy. Right now, he's got some dust on him, and he needs. I was talking to Aaron for 49 First Takes about this, and he was complaining how lackadaisical Bosa seems in the press conferences. You know how like what's it, Stephanie? Stephanie Sanchez always imitates Bosa and mumbles or whatever. It's almost like, okay, we know you're a dog and you can get all these sacks, right? And you haven't necessarily been getting them this year. But why not be? Look at Purdy. He's barely been a Niner, and right away he was a vocal leader, right? Why can't Bosa step up and be more vocal and not this like guy who mumbles all the time in press conferences and just speak with some damn confidence and speak with some, speak with your chest out. You demand all that money. Like, come on, let's do this, Bosa. Show us you're the man.
I agree, because I feel like this season he was a captain last year, right? He was a captain. They didn't make him a captain this year, and he's just been kind of. And I know how he is, like you said, I know how he's got the monotone voice, but this season you got a lot of money. Step up, kind of be more vocal. I agree with you, because the other day he said, after the game, he says, we were used to rushing 4. It's not working what we're doing, and then he just looked at the camera and he was like, I don't know. Like, I was not happy with that answer. He was like, yeah, we're usually used to rushing 4. And he just literally just couldn't think of what else to say. He's like, I don't know. Say it with your chest. Like Fred Warner, when he's up there at the podium, he says what he needs to say. He's like, look, we messed up on this. I support this player. We need to do this better. We got to win these grimy games better. Like Fred Warner, he says with his chest, even if you don't agree with what he says back, he's saying what he needs to say with conviction. And he says, this is what we need to do. And I don't know if you watch his podcast, he's the Warner House. He looked so pissed off this week on his show. He's like, dude, I do not like losing. This feeling is not fun. I do not like losing games. And, that's Fred Warner. He does not want to lose, and he's making it known. And then the other day, Bosa basically admitted he should have been in training camp. He's like, well, I'm behind the 8 ball. I should have been in training camp. I'm a little slow off the I'm like, you think you should have been in training camp? Absolutely. And it just tells you how bad this whole contract situation was. So, yeah, Bosa's a star. We need him to play like a star. He's playing like a twinkle.
Like a twinkle, twinkle, little star. He needs to be a rock
like
star.
Twinkle, twinkle,
like
little
Post Malone. More rock star.
He
needs to be the rock star. You're right. When you demand that kind of money, it's like that point where you graduate and you elevate to the next level, Like, we know you were the quiet guy, and maybe that's not your personality, but eventually you may have to progress. And maybe this is the time he has to do it. Joey Mahoney puts out a great comment. He says, Wilkes is supposed to be a secondary guru, but I don't see it. We're worse than we were last year in the secondary period. We're getting interceptions, but I do understand a lot of lapses too, though. I totally understand that. This is an awesome name in the chat over on the RSF 49ers channel. I'm checking it. By the way, everybody, it's a dual stream. For those of you that don't know, it's on RSF 49ers live channel. It's also on my channel, which is 49er Minded. I dropped the channel in the chat. So if you're not subscribed to the 49er Minded channel, feel free to click the subscribe. If you're not subscribed to RSF 49ers Live, go to the description box of my video. You can see it there. And Medulla Oblongata says, every 49er game I've watched at my in-laws' house, they have lost. It's a Raiders household. They invited me over again this Sunday, and I don't want to go. Am I being superstitious? What do you say, Raj?
Don't go. Tell your family you love them. It's nothing personal. Don't go to their house, man. Use your Medulla Oblongata. Do not go to the game. Hey, it's nothing personal. I'm superstitious myself, bro. Do not go to the game.
I know the Medulla Oblongata is in the brain somewhere. I'm not sure what it actually processes. I thought it might be speech. I don't know. I could be wrong, but somebody in the chat's a medical expert. They might know. David Salgado says predictions for Sunday. Well, we're going to get to that later. Don't trip. Freddie090 says Raj said it best many times. We're stacked on both sides of the field. They just need to make those adjustments and play to their full potential. That would be nice. SF Flood 24542 says they need to promote the D-line coach. He has D'Amico energy. Coach Sirik is pretty badass in terms of energy. I don't know if he's well-versed enough to take over the whole defense. That remains to be seen. Remember what we saw with Thomas Sula? He was that badass defensive line coach, right? Yeah, and then the players loved him, and we tried to make him a head coach, and that didn't work out. So I don't know. I do love Coach Sirik. I was fortunate to meet the guy. Have you ever met him by any chance? Or?
Yeah, I met Coach Sirik at the 49ers picnic a couple years back. He was a dope guy. He's a cool guy. A lot of energy. Very cool guy. And real quick to answer, medulla oblongata, it's like the lowest part of your brain. It connects to like the spinal cord, brainstem area, like that area. And it basically, I'm a medical guy, so I
It's
gotta
all
tell
good.
you,
Be that guy.
it tells you, it like controls your nervous system. It helps with like heart rate, what else? Breathing, blood pressure, like your vitals basically. So medulla oblongata is very important for if you don't have a good, if your medulla oblongata is jacked up, you ain't breathing, your heart's not ticking, you're dead, my boy.
All right. Hang on. I might have a visitor. Really quick. Come in here. Come in. I got
a
somebody who wants to say
visitor.
hi. Come on. Okay, if she's shy, you come and say hi. My niece doesn't want to say hi. She's shy. My nephew's. One of you have to say hi. You're gonna interrupt me. You got to say hi. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna close the door then. If you're not gonna say hi. I thought it was gonna happen, but
Oh,
I thought it was gonna happen, but it didn't happen. My bad.
all good. All good.
Exactly. Oh man, where were we going at with really quick? So we're talking. Nicholas Akalai says I just don't like secondary oriented coaches. They don't ever bring the pressure as those linebacker defensive line coordinators. And pressure is the most important thing a defense can do. I'm a defensive line pressure guy myself too. I think pass rush can make any average secondary look pretty good. So I mean, but again, I was a bit open to Wilkes because we never really had a secondary guy take over the defense. D'Amico and Robert Saleh were both linebacker guys.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And
linebacker guys, and they know how to stop the run. They know how to play the pass rush. That front seven. They weren't always too worried about the defensive backs, but they knew if they got pressure up front, you can take pressure off the back. And speaking of defensive backs, to me, that is going to be one of the key matchups for the 49ers, right? You got Mooney Ward and Diamond Lenore. They got some tough receivers they got to play. Jamar Chase, Boyd, Higgins, bro.
Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins.
That's scary.
This is the biggest test for the 49ers secondary so far this year, early in the season. Last week, it could have been them, the Vikings. They didn't have Justin Jefferson, but Jordan Addison cooked. He cooked, ladies and gentlemen. Jamar Chase.
Did he ever?
Jamar Chase is a top 4 receiver in the NFL by far and away. This is going to be a big game for Lenore and Ward and Isaiah Oliver because, again, like you said, Higgins and Boyd, this is a huge matchup for the secondary. So the pressure has to come. You have to pressure Burrow. He doesn't have the greatest offensive line. He hasn't since he's been playing with the Bengals. That's something the 49ers can do is get to Burrow, pressure that man, put him on his back, man. You can't let him get those passes. He hasn't really had success passes past 10 yards actually this season, like 32%. He hasn't actually had a good ability to get those deep passes. But if he can, if they give him time and he can start getting those passes out, I mean, Joe Burrow's going to carve your defense up. So we cannot let him have time. We cannot let Jamar Chase win on the outside. I'm a little worried about that matchup.
I mean, you mentioned T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. Those guys could be really, really good on any other team, and they just happen to play next to Jamar Chase. So it is pretty scary. And it's like, you mentioned that the Bengals have been underperforming, and I get it. They've only been averaging 60.7 points per game per bye. For some reason, Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense haven't been the same that we've been used to, that we've been accustomed to. So far, Burrow this season, 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 79.8 rating, which isn't a great quarterback rating, but it's almost like, especially these past 2 games. I mean, we go into Cleveland. Oh, well, we're not playing Deshaun Watson. We're playing PJ Walker. Who's he? We end up losing. And last time it's like, oh, well, Cousins, it doesn't have Jefferson. And then they freaking torched us with a rookie and made him look like an all-pro. So I don't want to take anybody lightly. I don't want the Wilkes to take anybody lightly. I don't want the defense to take anybody lightly, the secondary, whoever. Joey Mahoney has a very good point, actually. He says, when are we going to start drafting quarterbacks in the first or second round? Well, we didn't have first-round picks as of late, but we do have some first and second rounders coming up. I feel like we don't draft corners until the 4th or 5th, 6th rounds and then complain about our corners as a fan base. It's almost like the 49ers front office over the years, even when we did have a lot of higher picks, they never valued corners. What do you think?
Yeah, they didn't prioritize.
Picks, so to speak. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. They never prioritize. I said that a lot. And that's an issue. Like they get some gems here and there, but they never really prioritize it. That's why it was surprising when they got Mooney Ward a couple years ago. Like that was a money move. I was like, oh, wow. They went and spent money on a corner. And Richard Sherman, right? That was a guy they went and signed money for, but it wasn't like a huge contract. He was a veteran. He was a little bit past his prime. Still great to have Sherman. But other than that, really, in the last 2 decades, they've never really prioritized secondary. They never have. I mean, I've been waiting since '94 for them to go get another star cornerback since Deion Sanders, man. I mean, they've had some guys here and there, but never like, oh my God, like a J.C. Horn, Sauce Gardner, Patrick Surtain. Like we've been wanting those guys for a long time, but they've always built on the defensive line. And again, yeah, this is going to be a huge matchup for the 49ers secondary, man. And again, I'm a little nervous about this matchup. Not going to lie to you.
Yeah, even though it's a home game, I'm a bit nervous too. And that does not include what's going on at quarterback. Who knows who might start, who might not start. So just, it sucks what we've been going through lately as a defense. We've been pretty confident, and all of a sudden we have these two major lapses. Dustin Hurst is here. He says, look what happened the last time we prioritized getting a big-time corner. It was primetime Deion Sanders, and we won the Super Bowl. We sure did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Who was it? Eric Crocker always says that there's no more shutdown corners in the NFL. And I get that there may not be a true Deion Sanders type of guy, or maybe a Richard Sherman or Revis Island in their prime, but there are definitely a few guys out there who are a lot better than what we have right now. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the league has changed. They're right. There's no like true player that can take away a half the field every game, but there's some really good corners out there. I wouldn't mind to have, but yeah, it's a different game than it was in '94. I get it, but I still want a lockdown corner. I like Mooney Ward, but there's just sometimes he's a little too physical and he gets beat on certain plays, and we saw last week. But I mean, so the thing with Mooney, man, like he made a great play early in the game. He had to fight the ball, and then second time in the game he had to fight it again, and that time he lost. So it was crazy. That's not always going to happen in a game. You're not going to get in the same position multiple times. He did, and it was a 50-50 matchup for him. So unfortunate, the odds are 50-50 on both of those, and he lost one, he won one, and that play at the end of the half really changed the tide of the game. But ultimately the 49ers just have to play better on offense. Again, they had another opportunity at the end of the game to win, just like they did last week, and they made mistakes. So they have to stop making mistakes to shoot themselves in the foot. As bad as the 49ers played both of these last 2 weeks, Bash, they could have won them both. They still could be 7-0. They're not, unfortunately, and 49ers have to get into the bye week at 6-2 because, if they want that number one seed, these games matter. Their schedule is going to get tough. I know the Eagles' schedule gets tough, but you got to keep pace with those teams. The Lions as well. Lions' schedule is going to get easy. They're at the same record as the 49ers right now, so these games are tough. And the Bengals, I know they started out slow, but Joe Burrow was playing with the calf injury. He's starting to kind of come back on fire, and they had an extra week off. They had the bye week, so the Bengals are very well rested while the 49ers are a little banged up coming into this game. No Deebo Samuel. We saw how important he was last week, so the 49ers have to figure out how to play a game without Deebo Samuel because these last 2 weeks, that hasn't went well without Deebo.
Instead of bang bang Niner gang, it's banged up Niner gang. Unfortunately, we haven't had Deebo. I mean, it's been pissing me off, bro. Because I've been like, who was it? Who dropped this thing here? Really quick about Patrick Surtain. I'll get to it in a second. But I was just thinking, like, we got guys like Ronnie Bell, or we draft these young players, and it's almost like we draft certain players to say, hey, you're going to be on the active roster, but you're never going to play unless it's special teams. Or, hey, you're just going to be on the practice squad. It's like if we're not going to use these guys and we're stockpiling all these picks, and Shanahan doesn't like to go hard with rookies or whatever his excuse may be, and they keep talking about our Super Bowl window, trade the damn picks away and get about 3 good-ass players that will get us over the hump if possible. I'm dead serious about this. I mean, we got guys like Gerald Luter Jr. and these other cornerbacks. I forgot the other guy's name.
It's Sam
Womack and who knows? I mean, it's like, here you go. Big City Man said, quit messing around and go get Patrick Surtain for a first rounder. He's our lockdown corner for the next 5 years. I saw a rumor out on Twitter saying that the Broncos are still fielding calls for him. So who knows if the Niners make a move? Supposedly when we went to get Gregory from the Broncos, that we did inquire about Patrick Surtain. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we do it again. I don't know if we end up getting somebody. Do you think we actually make a move for somebody before it's all said and done?
I think so. Tuesday's the deadline, obviously, trade deadline. I think this game dictates a lot of what they're going to look for. I'm sure they've been calling. I would be surprised if John Lynch wasn't on the phone when Gregory was there. Oh, yeah, we're going to make the deal for Gregory. Oh, by the way, what's it take to get Surtain? Okay, I'm going to note that. And then he called back. You still want this for Surtain? Is the price gone down? I guarantee you Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are looking into options. Jalen Johnson is another guy that's out there. But I agree with Big City. Listen, man, I get it. This team has players that they got to pay in the future and blah, 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 blah. Trent Williams is not going to be playing forever, Bash. George Kittle's not going to be on this team forever. This is a Super Bowl window that's going to close. I mean, I'm sure they'll retool. They'll get great players again. But this team right now, they have a 2-year window to win a Super Bowl. Go all in, figure out the money and the other stuff later down the line after you win a Super Bowl. You can figure that out. You get rid of players you need to get, because if you win a Super Bowl and nothing else matters, go do what you got to do. Get Patrick Surtain. He's on a rookie deal still, so there's some flexibility. Get that man on your team. Go get a lockdown corner. Are you kidding me? Mooney, Ward, Surtain, and Lenore is a lot better than Mooney, Ward, Lenore, and Isaiah Oliver. Please, ladies and gentlemen, go make it happen. Because you're right, Bash. Darrell Luter, Sam Womack, they're nice developing players. They're young players with potential, but potential doesn't win Super Bowl. Great players, playmakers, guys that can go out there and be dogs win Super Bowls. We need it. I mean, go make it happen, man. Make it happen.
You got to make it happen. You got to get it cracking. Let's do this. It's interesting. Fork-tailed Devil VIP 38J, if I said that right. Said if Trent Williams doesn't play, Niners are lost, in my opinion. Niners will struggle to keep pace with Cincinnati without him. Asking the defense to shut this offense down, asking a lot. Niners going to need a lot of points. But they got a pretty good pass rusher on the Bangers. Taylor Frederickson or Taylor Hendrickson, if I'm not mistaken. Hendrickson. So we got to contend with him. And it's never easy week after week. I mean, first week we had TJ Watt to deal with, and they were rushing him over on McKivit's side. And honestly, surprisingly, Jalen Moore didn't do too bad. A lot of people were ragging on him. They thought he was terrible. They thought he sucked. Some people were blaming the O-line for pretty not having his best game. I didn't think the O-line was terrible against the Vikings. It could have been a lot worse. But we still need Trent Williams out there. In any case, we weren't running the ball properly. When Trent Williams is out there, we're getting that run game going, and we missed that run game really bad. We only average about 3 yards per carry on the ground game against the Vikings, and that's not going to cut it. The first 4 games of the year, CMC was averaging 5.7. So we definitely got to fix that run game. We got 65 rushing yards. And the Bengals' run defense isn't really spectacular. They gave up about 4.7 yards per carry, which is towards like 26 in the NFL. So
they're 30th. I'm looking at my notes right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati has one of the league's worst run defenses. The 30th in the league in yards per carry. So if the 49ers have Trent Williams, that's huge for the 49ers because, like you said, they can run the ball a little bit more effectively. Jalen Moore definitely is a downgrade. I didn't think he played horrible, but he didn't play spectacular. Run game was non-existent behind him, that's why I think he didn't play good, because they couldn't run behind Jalen Moore. And you can't run behind Colton McKivitz to save your life. And he was the reason the 49ers were giving up sacks. So if you're going to pinpoint someone that was dookie water on the 49ers offensive line, it was Colton McKivitz. He gave up 6 pressures. He gave up a sack. He was the liability. It wasn't Jalen Moore, except if you talk about the run, run blocking, then Jalen Moore was not up to standard, but nobody's Trent Williams. You definitely need him. So if there's one area where the 49ers could win this game on offense and get the ball moving, it is running the ball, and they're a running team. You got Christian McCaffrey, so it makes sense. He's going to see a huge workload again, which it's a little stressful, because did you know Christian McCaffrey played every single snap against the Vikings on Monday Night Football? And
that's ridiculous.
He had a torn oblique, and he played every snap.
That's crazy. That's great. And I hope he's okay. I hope he's fine. I don't know if you heard, as far as the 49ers injury list, were there any other names that popped up? I'm not sure if you're aware of who may play or who may not play, any other players.
So, we'll go off that. That's a good question. So, obviously, Brock Purdy's questionable. He might pass the protocol tomorrow. We got the breaking news post already waiting in the wings. Trent Williams is questionable. Again, ankle injury. He didn't play last week. He hasn't practiced at all this week. So, ankle sprains are tough ones. Just got to see how he tolerates the pain, and, if they can risk playing it. Ankle sprains can take a couple of weeks, I'm sure after the bye week he'll be coming back, but it's a questionable. Last week he was doubtful, so that is a little bit more hopeful. Doubtful, they're probably not going to play. Questionable, it's a little bit better than 50-50, right? It could be 70-30 depending on how severe the ankle sprain is. And then for sure, Debo Samuel is out. We all know that. He's going to miss this game with the hairline fracture. So other than that, that's the injuries. But those are big ones. Trent Williams, definitely a big one like we talked about. Brock Purdy, if he doesn't play, it's Sammy D, Sam Darnold. Can he take this team and win this team with all the weapons? Everybody says, oh, they got all the weapons. They got all the weapons. You have to know how to use the damn weapons. You have to know how to drive the Ferrari. You have to know how to operate the offense. It's not just you throw everybody in there. You can't be a geek off the street to run this offense because we've had how many quarterbacks through the Kyle Shanahan years, right? Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, Brian Hoyer. There's been a lot of quarterbacks, and not all of them. That's why we've been going through quarterback over quarterback. So it's not just like, okay, we're going to plug this quarterback in and he's going to be great. If that was the case, we'd never be having the arguments that we've had every single year. So it's not that simple. Hopefully Brock can play, but if he plays, hopefully he really is healthy. Because again, we talked about a concussion, dangerous business. What else was I going to say? There was one stat I wanted to throw out there, but I can't remember off the top of my head. It'll come back to me.
Okay, if it comes back to you, just let me know. And we can't do a Niners stream with Joey Mahoney's in the chat without him mentioning Danny Gray. This is for you, Raj. It says, what's the status on Danny Gray?
Still on the injured reserve. I haven't heard any news on him. He's been on the injured reserve for the last couple of weeks. Maybe after the bye week, they'll be able to activate some players. My guess is after the bye week, they're going to see how Danny Gray is, how Darrell Luter is, how Sam Womack is. I know that's kind of what they're going to plan on. You know, they've had all these guys on the bye week or on the injured reserve. So I think they're going to really see what they've got on some of these players after the bye. But right now they're all injured. Hamstring, groin, whatever the case is. These guys have been dealing with stuff. I think Danny Gray had a shoulder injury. And, you know,
didn't Danny Gray play one game this season? He was the first game of the season. And then that was when he got injured.
It was a special team. Yeah, special teams play.
And I think they said 4 weeks, and then he would be back, and then he never came back.
Yeah, he might be a little bit longer than initially anticipated. Again, these injuries kind of happen so fast. Plus, they've had short weeks. Their schedule's been a little weird. I think they're waiting for after the bye week to really figure out what they need to do. And then Debo got hurt, and just so many logistics, you know?
Exactly. Let's touch on this really quick, because you said Debo. We mentioned Trent Williams, and those are the two guys that jump out in front with the boombox and get the Niners squad hyped up before they step on the field. And I've yet to see the video, but apparently the Vikings did it as well. I know the Browns did it. And you were saying these teams are like trolling us. I saw this on one of your Instagram streams. Did you want to touch on that really quick?
Yeah, I don't think anybody's afraid of the 49ers. They're not the big bad voodoo daddies like they were before, the big bad Niners. Yeah, I posted the video actually. I think the NFL did too. When the Vikings came out, they had the boombox. They're all trolling, and everybody's laughing like, "Oh, the boombox isn't that nice. It's not as good as that." Doesn't matter. They're trolling. The point is, teams are coming out. They're laughing at the 49ers. They're mocking the 49ers. The Browns came out and picked a fight with them. Niners aren't bullying anybody anymore. I don't know. They're not intimidating like they once were. Maybe it's because Trent and Debo aren't there, so they're not as menacing last week against the Vikings, but whatever the case is, yeah, teams are doing it now. And I feel like the 49ers they're like tough skin mentality. Their swagger's kind of falling off. They need to get that. That's why they need to win this game.
I wish it, honestly, with the whole swagger thing. I know we did the boombox thing or whatever. I say up the ante. Bring back something to the effect of the Tony Montana squad. It doesn't have to be the same song, but wouldn't you be up for that? The special teams were just coming out there all hyped up before every kickoff and every punt.
Absolutely. I would love it. Are you kidding me? Tony Montana. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be the same song. I feel like that's kind of like where their head was going with the boombox. They wanted to come up and like hype people up and get the crowd into it and get the players like amped up and show the other team like, yo, we're something to play with. I think that's like their take on it. But yeah, maybe they got to change it up, because I think the boombox is, I wouldn't say it's run its course, but it's gotten a little old because now everybody does it. Even last year, the Jaguars were doing it. I remember Arden Key brought it out for a Thursday night game. It is what it is. It's just not as cool as it once was. It's still cool, but not as like, it hits a little different. You know, when they first started doing it, it was like, oh, that's badass. Now it's like, okay, they're coming out with the boombox. We see it every single week. Maybe they need to try something new. But this game, regardless of what they do before the game, it doesn't matter. Gimmicks doesn't matter. They need to be focused on this game to win, because this is a must-win for both teams, not just the 49ers, but the Bengals, because they have a tough division. That division, all those teams are winning. Bengals are 3-3. If they fall to 3-4, they're going to be in last place in this division. And that division is tough. The AFC North, black and blue, they all played good defense. It's just a tough. The Ravens are going crazy right now. We saw them demolish the Lions. The Browns have been good. Defense has been nice. I mean, they beat the Niners. And then the Steelers are sneaky right now. They're playing good football. 4-2, man. You can't deny the Steelers. Niners beat them, but it's a gritty team. So the Bengals know after the bye week, they can't be messing around. This is a must-win game for the Bengals to keep pace with their division and the 49ers too in the NFC. So this is going to be a tough game, and just in the sense of both teams cannot afford to lose this game.
Big time. You got that right. Let me catch up with what some people are saying. This dude said, got a funny name. I'm not going to say his name, but he put out the Hot Boys. That was definitely a thing back in the day with Quan Alexander, legendary, as he always used to say. Joey said it was in the preseason when Danny Gray got hurt. He hasn't played a snap yet in the regular season. Okay. I was a little confused. I knew it was somewhere early. So I just remember seeing him, go down, and we never saw him again. Yeah. Nicholas says the Steelers are BS and they are cheaters. Okay. Interesting. Okay. We already got score predictions from Somi Mera. What's up, Somi? Good to see you. Says 49ers win 27-14. We haven't done our predictions yet, but we will get to that later. Just want to go ahead and catch up with some of these things that people are saying in the chat. Let's see. This says Rick Diaz, what's up? Says that's why I said about the 49ers. They got to stay focused all the way to the fourth quarter. Their mind into this game. Keep their mind into the game. You know what? People were criticizing Shanahan a lot after the game, saying that he's not good in the fourth quarter when it comes down. You think he said nitty gritty earlier when the going gets tough. Shanahan's got to prove himself in some way, shape, or form that he can win these tough games, especially when it comes to playoff time. He gets ripped on for making bad decisions when things matter. So hopefully it's not a close game. Hopefully we come out guns ablaze. But if we do face teams in close games in the future, we got to seal the deal, man.
Oh, absolutely, because that's the criticism Kyle has had for years, not just with the 49ers, but dating back to the Falcons years. We all know 28-3. People would talk about that until they're blue in the face for many, many, many years. Until Kyle Shanahan wins a clutch game, championship game, and is able to stay aggressive, put the foot on the gas, foot on the throat, and close out a game and win a championship, people are going to bring it up regardless, if you think he's great or not. And I mean, it's justified. Criticism is justified. I can't sit there and say you can't, because you can pull up those receipts. So yeah, he does have to prove himself. I feel like he's definitely gotten better. He's won a lot of games with the 49ers. I mean, he's a hell of a coach, great schemer. He's good offensive mind, but the big game is still escaping him. Until he wins the Super Bowl, he's not going to go down as one of the great coaches. He can't if you don't have a Super Bowl. He's a really good coach. Like I said, great offensive mind, but he does have a tendency to let games slip away. And this is something that he's got to fix and, focus up in that fourth quarter, whether it's scheme, whatever it's players, whatever the case is, he kind of just falls apart. And I know we saw that with the Browns game. He fell apart when they lost Debo, when they lost CMC. He didn't know what to do. And last week, he didn't have Debo. And then the Vikings just kind of hit him, and he didn't know how to rally. And it just, the game kind of spiraled at some point, and that's what happens sometimes with him. Yeah.
And it really sucked, because I know a lot of people out there were dogging on Purdy and dogging on the offense in general, just dogging on the Niners in general. But at the end of the day, if your team cannot get off the field, it's really hard for your offense to get out there and score points. It's super hard. And we only punted once. It was a really nice punt. I get that. And the Vikings only punted once, but again, I mean, the Vikings were on the field for about 11 minutes longer than the Niners were. That's almost a full quarter.
They were wearing
I was
the
so worn out
defense
watching
down, and I was so stressed. And that's another part of this game is, okay, the Vikings were able to run the ball down the Niners' throats, and so were the Browns. These last 2 weeks, run defense has not been great. And tackling, they've been missing tackles. I think this last week against the Vikings was a little better. Browns game was atrocious. They didn't have Dre Greenlaw. This week they did. It was a little bit cleaned up, but still, they couldn't stop those guys. So Akers was running all over him, my man.
Oh, Akers, that was terrible.
He's not even that good. He got traded from the Rams, but
I mean, we've been terrible at stopping screen passes this year, and then we'll blitz a whole bunch of people when teams have been throwing screen passes for the past few weeks on us. You know, little stupid things like that. It's been very, very frustrating. I mean, what was that one play? I can't remember what quarter it was. I just remember that we blitzed a whole bunch of people, and then the Vikings threw a little screen pass on us, and the guy like took it down to the 10 or 5 yard line.
Yeah, it was like second quarter. Yeah, I remember.
Yes,
I know.
there you go.
Actually,
That play pissed me
just saw
off,
the
bro.
play in my mind because I've watched that
Yeah.
game so many times. And you're right, because they were blitzing. They were blitzing. And I remember Kirk Cousins just like, boom, dropped a little screen pass. And even the commentator was like, oh, man, look at that. That play usually probably wouldn't go far. But when you blitz in like that, it's going to go for at least 10 yards. And I mean, they were making our life so bad. On third down, the Niners would come in, blitz, and Kirk would just be like, boop, boop, boop. I'm like, what are you doing? And so that goes back to Steve Wilkes when we were mentioning him. He needs to have a better like situational football mind. Like that's what it is, situational football. If you're going to blitz, you need to make sure that you have players there set up to prevent a big play. But he's not. He's blitzing in the linebackers. He's blitzing in the safeties. He's blitzing in everybody on the line. Like I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Niners aren't used to this all-out blitz. Like I like aggressiveness at some point, but not every play. Teams are just going to throw those little blitz beater passes, and you're going to be gassed out when your team starts missing tackles, when they start missing first downs, when they stop when they can't stop an offense. It gets a little frustrating mentally, and it demoralizes them. And I think that's what's happening. This team can't stop a bloody nose on third down, and they get frustrated. You can see a hand on the hips. They're pissed off, man.
When you said hand to the hips, it reminded me of that one song. I put my hand up on my hip. When I dip, you dip, we dip. I'm always thinking about some little song in the back of my head. Speaking of hip hop and speaking of music, we got 49er hip hop artist in the chat. Eye of the Niner, Ray Pena, who was the 49ers front runner for NFL Fan of the Year. Unfortunately, he didn't win, but we definitely did our best to promote him to win. Says, what's good, Bashar and Raj? Great dude. Check out his Instagram. He's got all kinds of Niner merchandise and from Forever Faithful Azteca, and puts out really cool 49er songs. And who else we got? I don't know, Ethan Collins. You said that some 49er fans switch up more than a Kardashian with basketball players. I love the reference. It gets annoying, to be honest, but I'm not sure what you're referring to. Was it something we said? Or something somebody in the chat said? If you want to clarify, go right ahead. Ariel Moreau, if I'm getting that right, says Kyle's game plan looks like they're more built around specific players instead of being built around the scheme. You know, I wanted to touch on something because this Bengals defense, you know, we are pretty good at throwing to the running backs because we got CMC, and usually we're pretty good at running the ball. Hopefully we get that going again. Hopefully we do a rotation. I mean, I don't want to hear that CMC was on the field for every damn snap again for the rest of the season, including the playoffs. I don't want to hear that. But the Vikings actually, the Vikings actually do a really good job stopping running backs in the backfield. I mean, they hold them. They're like 10th in the league at stopping running backs, and with the 82.6 passer rating in terms of running backs coming out of the backfield as receivers. So that's going to be interesting to check out to see if we can throw some passes to our guys, CMC or maybe Elijah Mitchell or JP Mason out of the backfield, or maybe use check. And when we do have the ball, we have to worry about their cornerback, number 29, Cam Taylor-Britt. He's their most targeted cornerback this year, but he's only given up an 80.6 pass rating, which isn't too bad if he's their most targeted quarterback. And Mike Hilton, their other cornerback, has only given up a 45.6 passer rating too. So I did mention this in previous weeks, and it hasn't really worked to our favor. Mentioned in the past 2 weeks. The Bengals are another team that does not guard tight ends well. Now, we did use Kittle a fair amount against the Vikings. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 78 yards, no touchdowns, unfortunately. But we need to get back to using Kittle again. They're second to last in the NFL guarding tight ends, so we got to make it happen with Kittle, man. Let's do this.
You know, the last time George Kittle played the Bengals a couple years back, he had a monster game. You remember that? The last time Niners played the Bengals, classic game. That was the Brandon Ayuk overtime touchdown.
Little
game.
Superman touchdown they did. Superman that.
Superman, that game was crazy. But before that, George, I remember after the game, he posted like George of the Jungle or something. Like he went off. He had the like skyscraper catch where he goes up in the air. Skyscraper, he caught that one, which was crazy. And then he had the touchdown where he like dove for it in the end zone. He was going. I mean, he had a monster game. Debo had a big game. I think actually that game, all the Yak brothers scored that time. Yeah, because Ayuk had the game winner. Debo had like a toss sweep type play touchdown. George Kittle had his touchdown. Like that game was so fun, man. It was stressful though because I remember it got into overtime, and I remember that Jimmy throws it to Ayuk right around the corner. You see Ayuk streaking towards the end zone, and he just like dove for it. Oh man, that was a fun game.
That was a beautiful touchdown. We need Ayuk to be Ayuk. You know, if you know, you know, as they say. We got Freddie in the chat. Freddie090 says we need to stop the run game. This is not the defense we're used to. I'm totally with that. They got a running back in Joe Mixon. I know that. If you want to touch on that really quick, go ahead. And really quick, we got Javier Rio says, "What's up, fellas?" Is Joe Nixon having himself a season this year? Or he's not doing that great.
I think he's been hurt, hasn't he? Joe Mixon.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
he's been injured this year. I don't even know if he's playing this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate because we think like, oh, we're playing these teams that are hobbled. It's, you know, we don't have to stress too much as a defense, but then unfortunately these things bite us in the ass, and next thing you know, we're the ones who are hobbled. You know.
Wait, look, I'm looking at his stats. So he has played. I know he got a little banged up at some point in the season, but it looks like he's got 96 attempts. He has 366 rush yards, an average of 3.8 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. He's got 16 receptions. So it's not like he's had the biggest season. He's kind of slowed down this year, it looks like. Joe Mixon hasn't had the biggest season. Again, their run offense has not been huge yet, but he's the type of guy that you never know. He can get rolling at any time, man. Joe Mixon can get running at any time. So you got to be respectful. He's been a good player in this league. But, yeah, it doesn't look like he's having a huge season at this point. But any given Sunday, my man.
Very true.
Speaking of any given Sunday, let's get to it, my man. They've been waiting so long. What's your prediction? Make your predictions, any bold predictions for this weekend against the Cincinnati Bengals.
For this weekend. Okay, so I'll probably stick to my same bold prediction because we need to get on the damn board in terms of registering sacks. And, you know, I said it last weekend and I was way off, but I'm going to stick to my guns and use the same prediction because I'm sure Chris Kocurik's been in these guys' ears, and, you know, Steve Wilkes is probably regrouped with Shanahan. And let's get this straight, guys. I mean, you know how we keep changing defensive coordinators year in and year out? And this goes to the people that don't even like Shanahan. Just let you guys know, Shanahan has had his fingerprints on these defenses. If you notice, there's been some consistency with switching coordinators and still having successful defense. I know last 2 weeks it hasn't been all that pretty. I get it, but you know, Shanahan does have an idea what's going on with the defense and with defense in general. So hopefully he's coaching up there's him and Wilkes are going hand in hand. They're scheming this team up and getting them ready. We already got another prediction, early one by Werro Ski. He's been on the channel before. It says 31-28. And I'll be consistent with my Purdy 30 prediction. I'm assuming Purdy's going to play. Let's just have it in there that Purdy is playing. And I'm going to say it's going to be 30-20. The 10-point differential. As far and again, I was talking about my I got my bold prediction for the sacks. We need to get some damn sacks. So one sack for Bosa, 1 sack for Gregory, 1 sack for Hargrave, and I still want to see Hufanga get his pick 6, man. Let's do this.
I hope so. So I got a couple things. I don't think that we're gonna see a 30-point game. I just don't see it right now. I feel like Debo is so important. I think the 49ers are going to score a good amount of points, just not 30. I also don't know if Trent Williams is going to play. That's going to dictate a lot. I do say this, my bold prediction, maybe it's not so bold. Christian McCaffrey, he'll score his 17th straight game. Look, he's going to have his 17th straight game with the touchdown. He's going to score a touchdown this week. So if anybody wants to bet on some takes this weekend, I'm going to put some money on Christian McCaffrey to score his touchdown. If he doesn't, I'm going to be very pissed off because I think he's going to set that, 17-game mark. Last week he had his 16-game mark. CMC will score a touchdown. I think the 49ers will, play a lot better overall. I feel like these last 2 weeks, I just don't know if they've been 100% focused. I don't know if they've been super hungry. Maybe they overlooked these last 2 games, but I think this week they know it's a must-win game. They can't go into the bye week 6-3. Or 5-3. They got to go in 6-2. I think the 49ers are going to come out. Steve Wilkes, a lot of criticism on him. I think he's going to try to make sure this team is coming out firing on all cylinders. I do have the 49ers getting some sacks. I'm going to say 2 sacks, Bosa and Hargrave, the 2 big high-paid players. I think they're going to put their fingerprints on this game. They both need a sack, I think, especially Bosa. He needs to get a sack because people are coming for his neck. He needs to have a big game. I think he will have a big game. 49ers have been intercepting the ball pretty well this year. I think they'll continue that trend. I think Mooney Ward will have another interception this week. I know last week people weren't too hyped on him. He's got a big matchup against Jamar Chase. I think he's going to get one interception on him. They're going to throw. They're going to throw to him all night. And then I think that Diamond Lenore will get an interception because guess what? I think Demo is going to get a pick because guess what? They're going to be throwing. If Mooney Ward starts getting the pick, they're not going to want to throw it to him, so they're going to pick on Lenore. I think he might get a pick in this game. So I got two Joe Burrow interceptions. He's prone to throwing picks, but he can score, man. I think he'll still score a lot of points. It's going to be a tough game. I have the guy that needs to step up, which you said earlier, Brandon Ayuk. I think Kittle will get his. Sir. You did say last week the Vikings are not great at covering tight ends, and I think Kittle had a good game other than not getting a touchdown. They did kind of get him the ball a little bit more down the stretch. I think they could have got him the ball more. I think Kittle has a decent game this week, maybe another 7 catches, maybe another 70 yards, hopefully a touchdown, but who knows? I think Brandon Ayuk has to get on the board, has to get a touchdown. I think it's eating at him. Last week, they stymied him, and in the second half, they adjusted so well, they made Brandon Ayuk a non-factor. If he wants to get paid, he has to figure out how to make sure he puts himself in the end zone. He has to take over a game. He has to be the impact player. Debo's not there. This is a prime game for Brandon Ayuk to go out and have a good game, just like last week was. He started off hot and he got quiet. He needs to pick up where he was in that first half last week. Brandon Ayuk has to have a good game. With all that being said, my prediction is 49ers 27, Cincinnati Bengals 24. Jake Moody game-winning field goal.
Okay. So, because we got a similar prediction in the chat from Joey Mahoney, our friend, says 24-23. 49ers, Jake Moody wins it at the horn and redeems his miss versus the Browns.
Yeah.
He did hit himself a nice 55-yarder. I know it was in a dome, but still, the Vikings kicker was missing kicks too. And it's kind of funny because we did have a score prediction where Oski initially said 31-28. But he switched it up and said 17-14 final answer. Hey, it's all good. You still have time to change up whoever does their predictions. The Smitty says 27-14 for his prediction. We got Nicholas Akalati says 27-20, Niners over the Bengals. And he said this week I'm a Niner fan. So the Browns fan switches up on us and becomes a Niners fan this week. Okay, I like it.
I get it. He wants his AFC North the opponent to go down. Yeah, I get it.
He gets it. Big City Man says my bold prediction is we will see 0 blitzes this game. Let's make a prediction. How many games until we see Wilkes called it a blitz? I think Shanny's going to be on his ass each time a blitz, comes down and he gets to the field if he overrides it or not. It's we can't have any silly blitzes where you're blitzing like 8 guys. If you blitz like 2 extra guys or 1 extra guy, I'm cool with it. Master Anycraft says Niners 28, Bengals 19. So a lot of people are, realizing it could be closer, and I get that. I did put a 10-point differential. I don't think that's too much of a homer, homer prediction. I don't know what the spread is. What's if anybody knows, you could look it up. Thanks. Scuba Steve 415 says 24-17 Niners. Okay, I like that. We got more Tej beats. I like this. I'm assuming you're making some beats or you're a producer of some sort. I've seen you around in the chats before. Says 30-20. Okay, I like that. That's kind of, that's the same prediction I had. Same thing. Great minds think alike. And just dropping my, going to drop my channel link in the chat. If you're not subscribed to RSF 49ers Live, because this is his new YouTube channel. He recently got it monetized. Definitely jump on RSF 49ers Live's channel. I put the link in the description box of this video to jump on there. And not subscribe to 49er Minded channel, I just drop in the chat. Hit the like button on both videos. It's a dual stream. That's what we do every Friday at 7 p.m. Thank you, 49ers Throwback. We appreciate you. Definitely check out 49ers Throwback's Twitter account. It's got a lot of cool throwback videos for the Niners. And Worowski says Browns MVP this year is the refs.
100%. Even last week, they were aided by the refs.
I saw a video that was dropped. I didn't watch the game, but about the Eagles and Dolphins game. And a lot of people tell me don't don't hate on the Dolphins this week because we need them to beat. Because I grew up hating the Dolphins, but don't hate on the Dolphins this week because we need them to beat the Eagles, and I get that. Somebody dropped a video where all these questionable calls were dropped by the refs, and some guy who led the referee, the officiating crew, is a Philadelphia guy, and he's been he was fined in college or something like that for some Pittsburgh game that he refereed, and whenever he's doing Pennsylvania State teams, it's always shady, and I don't know.
A little fishy is all I'm going to say. Real quick, Bash. So the 49ers are a 4-point favorite. They're -4. 49ers are -4 this weekend. So, it should be a close game. Again, I have it 27-24. Vegas thinks it's going to be a close game. And we'll see what happens, man. I think it's going to be a doozy. Last time these two plays, it was a good game. But the good news is it's in Levi Stadium. It's a West Coast game. It's a later game. Cincinnati has to travel to the West Coast. So that is huge in favor of the 49ers. It's going to be a good game.
We're going to read a couple more of these predictions, then we're going to close it out. David Salgado says, ain't no way the Eagles did not get a flag that game. I believe it was like the Dolphins got penalized 11 times or 12 times. The Eagles had no penalties. And then you saw some clear would-be calls that were not called, which was nuts.
Yeah, there was some bad calls. There was face mask, like just some bad ones, and it is what it is. The Eagles still cooked them, but yeah, they should have been some penalties.
I agree. Dub Club 30, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Says 21-14. Niners win. Love it. Red Eye is a Niners fan. I believe you're a Niners fan. I've seen you in the chats. Yeah. Got an interesting take. Says, Bengals defense is better than the Niners defense right now. 24-20, Burrow gets a W. Okay, bold prediction right there. Says home field means nothing with a crappy defense. Oh,
he is not a Wilkes fan. That's all I know.
Steve Wilkes, if you're hearing this. And hey, I was going to touch on the Warriors game because I'm not watching. I thought you were watching, Raj. I got the score up, and Red Jet says 60-57. Golden State is up at halftime against the Kings. I don't know what teams you guys rock with. Raj and I rock with the Warriors. You got the game going on in the background, Raj?
You know what? I turned it off before we started, so I didn't know. Thanks for the score update. I wasn't watching. You know what? I did watch real quick earlier. My boy Wembanyama for the Spurs.
Wemby! Dude, that guy is like a cheat code, dude.
No, he's so good. I saw him the other night. I was watching that Spurs game against the Mavericks. Mavericks won because Luka was just cold-blooded. But Wemby looked good in his first game. I like this. I want to go to the Spurs-Warriors game in November just to watch Wemby play, to see him in his rookie season. I got to watch
I'm down to go with you.
Let's go. I was going to go to tonight's game, actually, against the Kings. And then I was like, oh, wait, we're streaming tonight. I can't go to the game. So we got to get a game this season, and I'm down to go to the game.
World Ski Chris Mullen was like my first big-time favorite player when I became a Warriors fan. We're talking about 1987, 88, right around that time. I was volunteer for the Warriors in 1991. I got to meet him and see him, Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond play.
What? You were a volunteer?
Yeah, 1991 season. I even went to the games when they played the Spurs when David Robinson was there in the playoff series.
What?
So yeah, I saw all those
David
guys.
Robinson was my favorite. That's why I like the Spurs. I
know you're a Spurs fan.
Yeah, I like the Warriors because I live in the Bay. Like I'm not gonna lie to you, I became a Warriors bandwagon when I moved out to the Bay. But before that, bro, I loved the Spurs. And then Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. But man, oh man, David Robinson, to me, everybody else was talking about Michael Jordan, which I loved Michael Jordan, by the way. But when David Robinson was in the league, bro, I was like, this guy is something else. I loved his game.
Yeah, I love this game, as they say in the NBA. We got a Kings fan up in here, Susan D. So we dropped our predictions. Thank you guys. I really appreciate all you guys in chat. Remember to dual stream, so subscribe to both channels. The 49er Minded channel, which is my channel. RSF 49ers Live is Raj's channel. It's in the description box of this video. Like and subscribe both channels. We still got people mad that both sides have gotten a sack. I know. I was saying, man, he's modeling underwear. He better get his ass to sacking quarterbacks and forget about this Kim Kardashian underwear modeling that he's doing for her brand or whatever.
I was so mad. She's smart. She got the bag. They made millions of dollars within 4 minutes of the ad. I get it. They did a good job. It was smart marketing. I would do it too for a check. I understand it. It's a business, but at the same time, man, it's not a good look for Nick because he signed a big contract and now he's not getting quarterback sacks and he's making, underwear ads, so he needs to get a sack.
I was trying to get my niece to come out. She keeps knocking on the door. She didn't want to jump on.
No.
She's a little shy. She's
It's
cute.
all good.
Yeah, I wanted you guys to see her. It's okay, no big deal. But hey, appreciate everybody in the chat. Always great time collabing with like to call you one of my good friends. One of my favorite people to collab with. It's always a good time. Check him out. Obviously, his Instagram lives are always fire. His YouTubes are good. So I'm trying to build up my channel. We're trying to build up both of our channels. That is.
Yeah, we're building it together, man. I finally hit 1,000 on this channel.
I know,
so
that's
appreciate
good. That's good.
The support. I know you've helped me. Everybody else, want to say thank you. Keep getting my boy Bash up. Let's keep pumping his numbers up. Let's get my man 49er Minded up, on the upper echelon of YouTube. Keep rolling. It's fun doing these Friday night shows because I used to do prediction show on my own. I like having someone to talk to. It's fun. I think we have a good vibe together. So it's been fun these last 3 weeks doing it with you. And I'm looking forward to continuing it to do this with you. But I hope that this week we finally get you know what I want? I was thinking about today. I was like, ever since we started collabing on the prediction shows, the 49ers have not won a game.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yo.
We gotta fix that. We gotta fix that, man. Because we both got that we have positive energy. We're proactive, as they say. So hopefully we just spin it around and start a whole new win streak, and let's get this going. Thank you guys again. Hit up our friends at 49ers Raj. Thank you guys for watching 49er Minded, where we get into the minds of 49er fans. Keep repping those 49ers and stay 49er minded. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go. Come on, we got to get this W, man. Get some sads, get the W.
Bang, Niner gang. Let's get this dub, man. Win it for Debo. Let's go. Win it for my boy Debo.
49er Minded theme song coming up. Come on, 49er fans, let's get it.
Because it's 49er mind.
We got to do this one time for the Empire.
It's 49er mind. It's 49er mind.
We got to get that brick by brick real quick.
49er mind.
Yeah, yo, we can't listen to them haters, man.
49er mind.
We from the Bay.
49er mind.
We them San Francisco 49ers.
49er mind.
We got that red and gold blood inside us.
49er mind.